So, going forward, now we're going to add another sound, which I will talk about, which is a Reese sound. Let's drag this in here. What's it in? In here, and I think it's this. And I'll just nick this for the time being, this bit of MIDI. And I'm actually just going to group these together and put the sidechain on both of them. So let's call this group sips. Rename that one group drums. Rename this Reese and this sub. So, and then copy this to the group. And this to the group. So what I'm doing now is I've just moved the sidechain. So they're both grouped or bust. And the sidechain is going to affect both the Reese and the sub. And whatever else I put into that folder. Make sense? Okay, cool. Right, so with a Reese, it's quite a good sound to learn how to make. There's many different ways of doing it, and really it's about getting two wavetables, two oscillators, and detuning them against each other. So you could do that by adding two saws and detuning them like, hold on, let's do it. Like adding this. You get kind of Reese sound. Let me put it down an octave and yeah, and they start to basically, I suppose you'd call it phasing, where they move against each other and it creates movement. There's a better way of doing it, because what happens is when you play it further up the keyboard, they get faster, and when you play it further down the keyboard, they get slower, which is great, and that's the traditional way of doing it. But what about if you're playing it and you want it to not speed up when you go up the keyboard and stuff like that? Let me drop it another octave, and might make it even more obvious. Let's do this. You can hear the way it's slowed down now. Cool sound, but I haven't got control of the movement of it. So let's look at this patch. Let me quickly open it again, because it'd be easier than making it from scratch, because I'll get it wrong. Jump up anthems, and it was Reese Bass, I think. There we go with the next one. Right, so instead of doing it just by detuning two saws, this could be a saw. Let me just put it to a saw so it looks quite straightforward. Singles, we just go just a saw. It should work. Yeah. Why does it look so funny? I don't know. Well, just look at it like that. That's a saw and that's a saw. They just look slightly different. And instead of detuning them against each other, one's an octave lower here, and one's an octave or 2 octaves higher. And I've used the unison here, which is essentially, if you use unison on synths, it's like chorus. So it takes copies of itself and doubles it. And the more you add of them, the more a wider synth will get. But what I've done is, instead of just using it for the width, I've ended up monoing it like this. I'd go to global and pretty much brought the width down to it's on 20, so it does have some stereo width. If I put it all the way up and play the sound, you hear the way it's quite wide. It's like, sounds like it's really over there. That's not very good for club compatibility. You know, like most sound systems in clubs, is your sound system mono?
I run the bass in mono.
Yeah, so okay, confused me, but yeah, it's good to have a good mono mix anyway, because like, well, iPhones have got better, but like that tape player there is probably in mono, and my stereo at home in the kitchen's in mono. So if you've got a too wide mix, like a really wide Reese, it will disappear on mono systems. So I don't want a really wide Reese, but I still want that movement, which the unison is creating. So you can come into a synth like Serum and many synths and reduce the width of your unison. Now, what that's done is it's allowed me to use the unison or the detune here to create this, to control the speed of things. I think if I remove that, the more I remove this, the more movement I'll get. And it's got a pitch dive on it. So I'm using this as kind of like a weird way of controlling the speed of it. Then you can get really sick sounds out of it. Also, there's a pitch dive on it, which is this thing here. So if you listen carefully, it goes pew. Let me try and exaggerate it. That pew. There you go. Let me go even lower. We're getting a sick sound out of it. You can do this with subs as well. Doesn't have to be with saws. You could do it with different oscillator types. You could do it with triangles. You can do it with whatever. They all give you a different sound. And you can make really powerful, really sick sound. I didn't mean to have it that loud, but it did sound quite good. So, but yeah, just imagine you'd done it with sine waves. You'd have like, and you could be like, okay, I want it to go, and I want it to pitch at the same time. Now you're getting into the world of sound design, because the world of sound design is keeping things simple and then understanding how to get the best out of sounds. Like when I was first messing around with, especially Serum, it's like, yeah, get all these wave tables. You can do this, you can do that with them. You don't need them. You know, they're quite good, handy to have, but the basic palette of, I don't know what's if you've got a synth in here, but like even traditional synths, like a Moog, they've got really basic wave tables, basic oscillator types, and it will be a sine, a square, a saw, and a triangle, and so on, and a noise oscillator.